This is Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we've had a problem.
Hey there folks, and welcome to another Friday rambling of mine. I think I will make these a Friday ramblings. I seem to enjoy finishing up my work for the week, going for my run, coming back and enjoying one of these. As always, while chin wagging away to you guys about something related to gaming in the most part, 99% of the time. I apologise if I'm slightly darker than normal. I didn't record this as early as I have the last one, so the daylight has gone. The camera's actually facing me. Behind it there is a window where the light usually shines through to try and make me a little bit brighter on camera, because I don't have a lamp that side of me, it's all behind me. So I do apologise if it's all a bit dark here. I'll maybe try and brighten it up on the video editing software that I have on the computer before I post it up. And today I wanted to talk about... Well, I want to talk a bit about what I've been streaming and how I've enjoyed it, and or whether I've enjoyed it or not. And Uncharted 4, which is, don't worry, it's a spoiler-free chinwag about Uncharted 4. I haven't finished it. I'm only, I think, 4 acts in or something. So I won't be talking about the story as I've seen it. I'll only be mentioning what we knew about the game before it came out, and I'll explain as I go. So, let's start with Uncharted 4. Uncharted 3 is one of my favourite games ever. I absolutely love it, and it is by far my favourite Uncharted game. It tops 2 only slightly because I felt like a lot of the little annoyances in each of the Uncharted games got fewer and fewer. In the first one, it was like, here's another room, here's just a stupid amount of enemies, here's another room, here's another stupid amount of enemies, and then there was enemies in places that hadn't, these places hadn't been touched in thousands of years, and there was enemies in them. It was like, it's like, where'd they come from? So there was little things like that, and there was no variety to the shooting, and there was no, in the first one, I love them all, but, they gradually caught my heart even more. And as time went on, they found different ways of making the gunfighting more fun. You may be hanging off something, or you may be having people falling past you as you're shooting up. And there was all sorts of ways that they made the shooting more fun. They made it less common, so you didn't get quite as many of the fights as you went through areas. And just all in all, they kind of understood what was frustrating to a fan playing it. They understood that it was a narrative, it was a story that people wanted to hear and see, with it being fun as well. And they topped it off in the third one by not having a boss fight, and I loved them for doing it, because I don't think there is a necessity for boss fights in games anymore. I mean, in certain games maybe, but I honestly, it frustrates me sometimes when there's a boss fight thrown in for absolutely no reason whatsoever. They did it in both the Tomb Raider games. All of a sudden, there's just this mammoth bloody monster from nowhere that's like, what? And it's just not required. And usually, certainly in the first Tomb Raider, they threw it in right in a piece of action that was just flowing so nicely, like just running along and shooting and fighting and running, and then suddenly this monster jumped out, and it just took the pace right out of the game. So I loved them in Uncharted 3 for not giving you a boss fight at the end. They gave you instead an area that kind of tested everything that you'd learned as you were going on, rather than a boss that tested you. So it was more about the variety of enemies that came at you, and they also gave you almost a disability in the fight, so far as as far as I remember, they drugged you or something. You everything was kind of unclear and fuzzy, and you weren't seeing the soldiers for what they were. They were kind of almost monsters or versions of them. So it was really clever the way they did it. And then when it came to the big climax of the game, they didn't need a boss fight. It was all about running away, jumping over stuff, and not falling over cliffs, and it was great. So I'm hoping that they've carried on that going into 4. Certainly the action that I've played so far has been fantastic. They've added in the stealth elements which weren't there before, so you can sneak through the grass, you can hide behind stuff and sort of tag enemies. These are all things I've seen early on in the game. They've given you the grapple hook now, so that you can swing across specific places. You can't do it everywhere. There's specific places where you can grapple. I haven't got to any sort of rock climbing bits yet, but I did see in a demo that they've put in almost like the Tomb Raider sort of pickaxe, but it's not a pickaxe. It's like a pick. I think it's a pick. He gets hold of a pick, one of the actual nails or something that they actually hammer in, but he uses that to clamber up certain rock faces. I haven't got to that yet though. But my initial reaction of the game is when I first heard about this game and they told us what the story part of the story concept was, which was that Nathan Drake, because everybody knows this isn't a spoiler, because we know this because Troy Baker's in it playing his brother. Now, when they said that it was going to be a Nathan Drake with a brother coming back and needing his help and all this sort of stuff, I was already disappointed because the whole crux, well, part of the whole crux of Uncharted for me is the relationships between Nathan Drake and Sully, the old guy that goes around with him, almost his mentor that, helped him be who he is, and Helena, is it Helena or Elena? I can't remember. Elena, who is his gorgeous woman who's in all of them. And even in the third one, they introduced two new characters. I forgot their names. That's terrible. For a game that I've played umpteen times, it will come back to me. They introduced two English. Well, I'm not sure if she's English, but the guy was English anyway. But they were two great characters. In fact, the woman I'm talking about was actually in the second one as well. But the bloke character that comes into it, the English guy, he was brilliant. A really funny character in the third one. And I don't know if these characters are in the fourth one or not because I haven't got that far into it. But the whole crux of Uncharted for me was the relationship mainly between Nate and Sully, who's his long-time adventuring partner, and their friendship is just so tight in this game. I mean, that's the partnership that you love, and that's the partnership you love playing with when they're traveling around together. So when I heard it was going to be his brother, I was kind of disappointed because I knew that I wasn't going to get as much Sully time as I would normally have gotten. I think from what I've seen in this game already, I kind of think they're playing that card as to Sully is obviously getting older now. And it is the brother's kind of story that Nate's trying to help with. So already I can see that we're going to be spending a long time with the brother as the main partner. So I kind of knew that before going into the game, and it disappointed me a little bit. So going into it, I was already kind of disappointed. Can I just say at this point, this is me being extremely picky, and this is a fantastic game so far. So I'm just being extremely picky about the fact that Uncharted 3 was my favourite Uncharted game and one of my favourite games of all time. So this game had a lot to live up to, and I didn't really ever think it was going to match 3 because I always felt like they were never. I always felt like 3's story ended well. I don't think we need. Hand on heart, I don't think that the PlayStation 4 needed Uncharted 4. I think they could have started a new franchise. People would have accepted that Uncharted hit a climax on 3. And I would have been happy with that. I wouldn't have batted an eyelid had they not done Uncharted 4, because I know Naughty Dog will go on and do other things. Without any doubt, they're going to go on and do Last of Us 2. And without any doubt, they've already got other concepts of games that they want to try out. We know this is the last Uncharted, It's nice to have had the other ones remastered and put onto the PS4. And we've now got a PS4 one, so we've got 4. But I think they're ending on kind of a high. I think they could have ended on a massive high with 3, because 3 for me was the best one. That's basically all I'm saying. However, when I've played this game, when I played 3, I immediately, after the first 2 hours, I knew I was going to play that game about 3 or 4 or 5 times. This one, its pacing at the beginning is so much slower that I already in my head think, can I be bothered going through all of that to get to where I'm at now again? Because I think I've played it for about 2 hours. And there's been a couple of good bits, but there is a lot of little slow pacing bits that you have to get through before you can really hit the action. And a lot of the reviews have already said that this is a much longer Uncharted game than the others. The others were about 7 hours apiece, taking them at a fairly steady pace, and this one I believe is double that. I know IGN gave it a 9 out of 10 simply for the fact they felt it was too long. They felt the second half of the game was too long and it was stretched out a bit. But I think what's happened is, I think because they knew it was the last of the Uncharted games, I think they've almost overthought it and thought we have to put a lot in because we're never going to get another chance to do it. So let's just try and do everything that we kind of thought we might try and do with one of these games. Let's get it in there. Let's get every bit of story in we can. Let's get, and I think it's understandable why it's happened, why it's become such a long game, and why why it was delayed so many times as well, because I think a lot of these things probably crossed their minds as well, without any doubt. So my initial reaction is it's fantastic. If I had to score it out of the first 4 acts, it's still a great game. It's a 9 out of 10. It looks stunning. It plays fantastically. The character acting is brilliant. Everything's great about the game. I'm just being very, 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 very picky. I have spoken to my son, who's finished the game now, and he he really felt like the second half dragged on a bit. So I'll be interested to see if I feel the same way. I can't really think of anything else I can see there's going to be a bit more vehicle orientation in it already from the way it started, although I haven't had a lot of it. Just the very beginning bit had a bit of vehicle action in it. But I have seen clips where there's a lot of vehicle stuff going on. They've kind of put random conversations in it as well, where you'll be walking along and a little marker will come above their heads, and you can go over and have a conversation with them. I mean, there is, without any doubt, a lot of The Last of Us influences in this game. You can see the way that they're highlighting stuff, the way that they're putting the little question marks above them to have conversations. You just get the fact that the pacing is what it is as well. It does feel like The Last of Us, and the way they made it has had an impact on this game for me. Anyway, my son felt the same way as well. So yeah. Anyway, it is absolutely fantastic. I mean, I'm being extremely, extremely picky, and it is without doubt going to be, if not the best PS4 game, certainly. For me, I don't think it'll be the best PS4 game. I think it'll be the best exclusive that they might do, depending on whether The Last of Us 2 comes out at any point soon. However, a lot of people will argue that Ratchet & Clank might top it, because Ratchet & Clank has had nothing but praise, and everybody who's played that game thinks it's just incredible. So Dark Souls 3 is another one people think might be better than it, but I haven't played it yet, so I can't really comment. But it will, without any doubt, it will be in the higher echelons of all of the games that come out on the PS4. It's fantastic so far, and I'm sure I'll love it at the end. At this point, I'm pretty sure I won't play it as many times as I played the third one. But anyway, so there you are. That's my initial thoughts. As I say, I've only played first four acts, and I'll see how I got on with it through the weekend. I only got it on Wednesday, and then I was playing with friends last night on The Division. So that's it for Uncharted 4. As far as the streaming went from my last vlog, he did a stream of Outlast, which was about 2 hours, I think, maybe a bit longer, and it went really well. A few people joined in, but I'm not sure I don't think it's that interesting to watch Outlast. People kind of jumped in and jumped pretty much straight back out again. And maybe it depends on the way you play it. Maybe people are looking for video cam on that kind of game to see your reactions. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll do more of Outlast. I might do. I might get a feel. I might just pick it up and play it one night, just for the streams tend to be slightly random. I'd like to do them in some kind of order. I did, however, do a stream of Until Dawn, which I'd never played before, and it got such high praise on the PlayStation 4. It's an exclusive again, but it wasn't really shouted about Until Dawn at all. And then I think what they were really pushing, the Order 1886, and it got a really hard time, the Order 1886, because it was too short and there wasn't enough content, there wasn't enough to do in the game with the weapons, and there was all sorts of stuff. I personally loved the game. Well, I really liked the game. And I'm hoping they give us some more with better stuff in it, because it looked fantastic. It had a great concept, great story. So I'd love to see them do more with it. But the Until Dawn kind of sneaked in around, I think, just after it, and just blew everybody away. Everybody loved it. It looked fantastic. It plays a bit like Beyond Two Souls and Heavy Rain. It has that button pressing type feel, but you'd never feel like you're just mashing a button for the sake of it. It gets you on the edge of your seat. It's almost, well, if you haven't played it, it's like a sort of American teenage horror in the cabins, in the cabin in the middle of nowhere in the snow, killers coming after you and all sorts of stuff, and you've got to try and survive until dawn. And there's you play as a number of characters. I think, although I've only played a few hours, but I think you're trying to get as many characters to survive as you can. How possible that is, I don't know. But every decision you make in the game has an effect. So every choice you make as to who to save, who to help, every question you answer, everything has an impact on how the story plays out, what characters survive, and how characters react with you as well, I think. And it's brilliant. It is so good so far. And the stream went really well. A few people joined into that. Got chatting to some new people. And Abdullah, I think his name was, he subscribed, he joined in, was chatting away to him from across the seas somewhere. And good old Alyssa joined in again. And there was a few other people there, but they weren't chatting away on the chat. But no, I will definitely be doing more Dying Light, because Dying Light, Until Dawn. Where Dying Light came from. Until Dawn, because I want to see the story through. I don't think it's that long a game anyway, so I will definitely be streaming the rest of that, and I'll be doing it all in order. I always leave the streams up, so if you can't make the stream at the time, you could always go back and watch what went on. And there was a little bit of a glitchiness at the end of the first part, so there's about 2 or 3 minutes of gameplay missing between the first part and the second part, but you didn't miss anything. I think it was to do with the amount of stuff I can upload. I needed to bring the upload speed down, and it still looked just as good. I just didn't realise that there'd be a cap on it. So that's fine. I've got that set now. It won't happen again. So there you are. That has been my week pretty much of gaming. I will be doing a big chunk of Uncharted now over the weekend, although I won't be streaming it or recording it. I may come and record a couple of episodes just so people can see how it looks and feels on the PS4. I don't know if I'd want to do the opener, because I don't know if there's enough action there to keep folk interested. What I might do is maybe try and grab a whole bunch of gameplay and just stick it in a montage or something like that, maybe as I go through. Maybe just do some PS4 records, get them off of there, and then smelt them together for you and throw them up as a video. I might try and do that so you can see some of the gameplay and then the story's not ruined and so on and so forth. And I think that's probably it for today. It has been an honour and a privilege serving for you again, chin-wagging and rambling as I do. I'm going to go off and have a few of these and listen to some music and watch a bit of Jools Holland. I think I've got 2 episodes of Jools Holland to go and watch. So music of some kind, and enjoy my weekend. You guys take it easy. Bye.